The Supreme Court handing Trump a big win one day before Super Tuesday, unanimously ruling against Colorado's effort to kick him off the ballot. But House Democrats already cooking up another idea.
I am working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Eric Swalwell, to revive legislation that we had to set up a process by which we could determine that someone who committed insurrection is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Mike Huckabee is the former governor of Arkansas, and the good governor joins us now. Governor, your reaction to the unwavering Democrat commitment from folks like Jamie Raskin to make sure your vote as an American, you know, that whole democracy thing, does not count.
What a brain trust. Jamie Raskin, Eric Swalwell, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. If there ever was a trio that could best be called the political Three Stooges, you got them right there. These are people who have lost their minds. They honestly think that somehow they should decide who gets to be on the ballot, not the American voters. And they keep talking about insurrection. Nobody's been charged with insurrection. Nobody's been convicted. And I don't know if Jamie Raskin has ever read the Constitution. Maybe he ought to brush up on it and find out that there is a presumption of innocence, and you have to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by a jury of your peers, none of which has ever happened to Donald Trump. Even Jack Smith, who was a deranged anti-Trump hater, even he hasn't charged Donald Trump with insurrection for a simple reason. Because Donald Trump didn't commit insurrection. That's why. They would have charged him if they thought they could. So the whole thing is nonsense, but it really does show the depravity, the moral depravity of these people who honestly think that they're just a little better than the rest of us.
Yeah, it is clear that Democrats are trying to take Trump down with these legal challenges because they feel like they have to do something, especially when you look at the polls, this recent slate of polls, Governor, that are brutal for President Biden in swing states among Black and Hispanic voters. And even Biden, people who voted for Biden in 2020, only 83% of them say that they're going to vote for him again in 2024. That's not a good number. I guess the good news about bad poll numbers is that they can go up. So what is your expectation here heading towards the general election for President Biden when it comes to these poll numbers and overall approval?
I don't see how he gets better. His policies are still his policies, and they're destroying the country. The most interesting question in the poll was when people were asked about Biden's policies, and the response was they actually believe that Biden's policies hurt them. Now, that's the most dangerous thing you can have in a political poll, because it's one thing to say, yeah, they really haven't helped me that much. So there's a neutrality there. That's not what we're seeing in these polls. What we're seeing is voters, including younger voters, under the age of 30 by 51% say they're voting for Trump. Voters who are Hispanic, there has been like a 40% swing in Hispanic voters from Biden to Trump, and in African-American voters, a huge swing. All of these are constituencies that Joe Biden should be able to take for granted, but he can't. And the reason is the response to the poll is his policies are hurting me. I mean, it's like you've got to be a political masochist to go out and say, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. I like pain. I want some more. I'd like to have another slap right across the face. So maybe I'll vote for Joe Biden because I like to feel bad.
People are going to take that quote out of context that you just said. So I'm looking forward to that later on today, Governor.
Don't selectively edit that one.
Meantime, from one Arkansas governor to another, the return of the Clintons. New York Magazine detailing how Bill and Hillary are helping out President Biden and Vice President Harris ahead of the election. Just quickly, they've spoken privately, talking about the modern Democratic Party and their role there. Hillary allegedly is helping out Kamala Harris. You have 30 seconds to react to all of that, Governor.
Well, it's not hard. Look, they're more popular than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I think they're desperate to say anybody who can maybe provide for us a little bit of positive news, so let's bring the Clintons back. Hey, I would do it if I were Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I'd put them front and center.
Yeah, Donald Trump's not bringing the Clintons back. I think he just gave Joe Biden Hillary's old nickname because he said, who cares if Hillary's crooked? She's irrelevant these days. Governor Huckabee, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great Super Tuesday. It's always super when you're on the show. Have a good one.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.